Welcome back to another Crusty Cravings video. I am Hannah and today I'm going to teach you how to brown butter. One thing I always tell my sourdough microbaker friends is that when we're dealing with limited capacity and we don't have these massive bread ovens or commercial mixers, we have to think outside of the box and make things in bulk that are easier to make and will give us higher profit margins. And one of those things for me is brown butter sourdough chocolate chip cookies. They are to die for. They are the perfect amount of chewy, crisp, salty, and sweet and nutty. You really won't taste anything like brown butter. One thing I noticed though when I first started is there's not a lot of tutorials out there on how to brown butter and what it should look like when it's done. And there's levels to browning butter, so I wanted to show you how I personally do it and when it is done for me. It's so good. Enzo! Brown butter is made by heating butter until the milk solids caramelize, imparting a golden color and a toasted nutty flavor. This is a French technique, and it's an easy way to ramp up the flavor of your regular butter without having to add a bunch of extra ingredients. You start by heating a saucepan on medium-high heat and adding a couple sticks of butter to your saucepan, however many your recipe calls for. I just noticed that if I do more than 2 sticks of butter, it typically bubbles over or foams over during that browning process. The key here is to continuously stir your butter at medium-high heat so that it doesn't boil over or brown prematurely. You'll start to see that the milk solids within it separate from the fat and the water begins to evaporate. It will leave behind those milk solids and they will start to toast as time goes on. If you are adding brown butter to a recipe, you want to keep in mind that you need to use a recipe specifically curated for brown butter, as you are allowing some of that water to evaporate from the butter during the browning process, and so it's going to have a different consistency and texture and chemical reaction within your recipe. As you can see here, there is a white foam beginning to separate from the rest of the butter. That is just the milk solids that are separating, and those will begin to brown as time goes on. You do want to continuously stir your butter as it will start to boil over or foam over if you're not careful. I've had that happen many times. Just like any cookie recipe or recipe in general, temperature of ingredients does play a role in how your cookies or your product are going to turn out. And I notice that if I don't let my butter completely cool after I've browned it, it will make my cookies a little bit flatter. Sometimes I put my brown butter back in the refrigerator to harden back up after it's completely browned, and this just prevents my cookies from spreading out like a pancake. It can take a solid 5 to 10 minutes for your butter to start to brown, so be patient and wait until you see these brown golden flakes start to form on the top of the brown butter. Thanks for watching!